Hello, welcome back to our podcast.
And simply welcome if you're listening for the first time. This is Anastasia.
And this is Estelle. Today we might sound
different just
little
because we're actually in person for the first time ever and for the podcast, just because we decided to have a sleepover and stuff.
It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It just we sound so different now. Just because my voice sounds less pixelated in a way.
Yeah, you sound like you're on a call.
Yeah, usually I sound like I'm on a call, which is really sad, but oh well.
It's the truth. Anyway, today we're gonna be talking about mental health and eating disorders.
I will put out a trigger warning for anyone watching, because we will be talking a lot about mental health, about depression, and just a bunch of stuff. So, eating disorders.
Yeah.
So, if you feel like that might trigger you, do click off the
podcast if you're uncomfortable with it. Yeah. Anyways, for the people, and you can join us next time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, today.
So, for the people who stay, let's start then.
Yeah. Okay. So, Miriam's gonna start us off.
Oh my God! I said your name. No.
Today we're gonna sound a bit different.
Yeah, because we're actually in person right now. Usually we're on the call or FaceTime, but right now it's we're actually in person because we're having a sleepover. So that's really fun, right?
It's so fun.
Because usually I sound so pixelated.
You sound like you're on a call.
Which I am.
Usually you are, so I think that's what you're supposed to sound like.
Yeah, so people actually know what I sound like when I'm not on a call.
Yeah, this is how she sounds like now.
Yes.
We're just drinking a nice hot cup of hot chocolate.
Because we decided to jump into the pool with our clothes on.
Dresses.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually our dresses on, which is even worse.
We had shorts underneath.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Creepy security guard.
Oh my God, so creepy. I swear, he didn't even care about the fact that we were in the swim with our dresses. He cared more about the fact that we were in our dresses, we were in the swimming suit, and they were clinging to our butt. That is all that guy cared about. It's really disgusting, because,
men.
Just men. I hate men.
Men.
So much.
So today we're going to be talking about mental health and eating disorders.
A quick trigger warning for anyone who is watching, just because we will be talking about mental health, anxiety, and just, eating disorders and stuff. So if you feel like you're going to be uncomfortable or you're going to get triggered, please click off and you can join us next podcast. But yeah, if you're still here with us, then let's get started. So honestly, I want to start off by talking about just how a lot of media has started romanticizing mental health and eating disorders, just because they make it seem like it's a beautiful thing, which it isn't. It's ugly. I don't know if they're going to get mad at me for saying that, but it's ugly. It's
it's something painful. You don't want.
Exactly. But with the rise of romanticizing mental health and eating disorders and stuff, I feel because we're starting to romanticize it, people are wanting to get them,
and they don't really understand how bad it actually is.
Exactly, till you get it, and then you can't really turn back. Obviously, you can turn back, but then it's so bad,
life-changing.
Yeah, and you suffer. So if you're one of those people that's wants to have bad mental health or a disorder, don't. Because it's not fun. It's not wow, so fun. It's not. You're not quirky, you're not cool, you're just really not a good person, because
and I think that kind of leads to faking mental disorders.
Exactly.
I've seen so many people do this, especially on social media right now. It's literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. It's not fun.
It's not, because
you don't get, you don't know.
They don't understand what it's they always show the kind of socially acceptable bits, crying and mascara running down your eyes and all those really aesthetic pictures, which obviously is a part of having bad mental health, but they never show you the part where that's not socially acceptable, when you have panic attacks, in the middle of class, because then you're weird. If you don't brush your teeth or wash your hair for 3 weeks in a row because you literally can't be bothered to, or your arms sting when water touches it or anything touches it, but then you're considered disgusting. But then
they don't look at the bad parts of it.
Exactly, they never show you the bad parts. They only show the very good and like romantic parts of it, which nothing about it's romantic.
It's not.
It's just we
and
keep
it's, I think it's harder to maintain relationships as
exactly
well.
like your relationships will deteriorate. Like they will go, because like firstly, no one wants to be with someone who fakes and romanticizes something that serious, and on top of that, no one wants to be with someone who's just kind of having that influence on their life, because you don't know what that person's going through.
Yeah.
And they're probably gonna think that you're like mocking them if they are going through stuff. So just like
Just don't fake it.
just
and-
don't fake it.
And don't create that kind of false view about mental health and
Exactly.
everything that comes with it.
You know, the thing is, right? Like TikTok, I feel like is the biggest contributor to this.
Yeah.
Just because, and the thing is, like, there's little children on the app. You know, they shouldn't be on there, obviously, because like,
But they still are.
but they still are. And thing is, it doesn't even matter if it's little children, but the fact that little children are on there, they're gonna think that it's okay. So you don't like feel like that, but it's not, obviously. And people are really gonna like, kids are gonna want to have depression. Kids are gonna want to have anxiety, and like they're gonna develop it over time. And
I completely agree. And
they're gonna feel
when
like
you,
shit.
When you start to fake it, you kind of start
Yeah,
molding into it.
yeah. Like okay, eating disorders, for example, right?
That sucks.
It's so easy to like start slipping and like falling into it, kind of like for me at least, like personal experience. Just because like I feel like it's kind
you
of
don't realize how far you've gone because you
till like
you
someone
always,
points out. Yeah,
even if someone does, because you don't really know how. I mean, you kind of you look at yourself in a different light. I think.
yeah, because like you don't even
you would always think you're not like skinny enough.
exactly like you're like I think honestly we just
Or fat. I don't know. You just never know how you look like.
exactly, and the thing is, right, like it's a lot easier, I think, in a way to fall into eating disorders than mental like depression and anxiety. Like I think at least, just because like I don't know, I feel like it's a bit easier to kind of fall into them.
And
Just because like you
yeah,
kind of it's like kind of a ritualistic thing, you know,
it
like
is.
you stop like eating or you eat too much. Because okay, I don't think we talk about binge eating disorders as much as we talk about like anorexia and bulimia.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like
I think it does come with a lot. Like I think eating disorders can come from other mental health disorders. I think
exactly.
Yeah, and it's really sad.
Basically, like I think what I'm trying to say is just don't romanticize it.
Don't romanticize it. Don't fake it. Don't start into it, and try not to fall into that peer pressure. I know it's really hard.
Cause like,
and for the people who are pushing you to become that kind of person, you are terrible, and I don't like you.
Yeah,
I personally hate you.
If you're one of those people, right? That's like, cause as someone who's had kind of like a kind of eating disorder, because obviously I never got diagnosed, which means I can't say that I had an eating disorder because that's kind of self-diagnosing, which I don't really agree with. But I had something like that, and it's like I was kind of pushed to do it, which is obviously not good. And if again, like you said, you know, if you're like Estelle said, if you're one of those people that pushes others to like stop eating, or you're those people that's like, oh, are you gonna eat that much? Like literally,
don't comment on people's food.
Exactly, like literally,
don't.
You are a suckish person. You are a shitty person. Like
we don't like you.
Like I don't like you very much. Like literally,
we don't like you
because like I mean, what do you like?
What do you get out of that? What
exactly?
What exactly do you get out of that?
Like how shitty do you have?
You just
to be?
make the other person feel bad about themselves, and I don't get it.
I genuinely don't get it, because it's like, why? Just why? Like, I think honestly, just faking mental health disorders is one of the worst things you can do. Just because honestly, like I think one of the biggest things that's just bad about like faking mental health disorders is people will think that everyone's faking it.
Yeah.
And then people that actually need the help won't get the help.
And I think like the people who actually have it wouldn't be that excited about showing it off.
Exactly.
Because I wouldn't. Like
I mean,
if I did have
it, ashamed. That's what you feel. You feel ashamed.
And I hate that kind of stigma as well. But
yeah,
still, it's kind of terrible.
Yeah, because like okay, when I was going through that, I'm not gonna call it eating disorder. I'm just gonna say like phase, kind of. Because obviously I don't know if it was an eating disorder, but when I was going through that, right, I didn't want to tell anyone just because I was so ashamed of it. Because I felt like a bad person, you know? Like when you throw away your food, right? You feel shit. You feel shitty. You feel like shit because it's like you don't want to do it, but like you don't feel like you have a choice, you know? When you're like fucking like, leaning over that, you know, like toilet, like fucking with your fingers down your throat, like you don't feel good. You know, you're not like, oh my god, I'm doing so great, and you don't feel like you're like you want to go ahead and like serenade that behavior and like, oh my god, guess what I just did? Like you don't want to
I
do
just
that.
threw up.
I just like made myself throw up. Like I'm so quirky. No, you don't do that.
You don't do
Like you're gonna be sitting there fucking ashamed of yourself. Most of the times I'd be sitting there crying, like sobbing, because I was like, what the fuck, man? I was genuinely mad. But like it's like you can't stop. And like, I think people don't realize that part of it.
I think, yeah, how easy it is to get sucked into it.
Exactly.
Like, even if it makes you feel like shit,
exactly.
you still continue to do that behavior.
Yeah. And like I just think like it's just really wrong for everyone. Because again, you know, you're not getting the help. You're not helping like the other people that do have actual like disorders, like mental health disorders,
to get
the help that they need.
And it's not cool. It's not quirky.
Not cool. It's not quirky. It's just wrong. But yeah.
I think personally, I have never been diagnosed with anything. I'm a perfectly healthy child. But I have gotten like phases of anxiety, I think. I think everyone has gone through a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call them panic attacks, but I would get really racy and my mouth would dry up. And I was really scared at that point. Like I didn't know what was happening. I think I just didn't understand everything, you know? My brain really kind of froze up and I couldn't see the world as clearly as I can see normally.
Exactly.
And my problems really magnified, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was shitty, so really.
I feel like we really need to talk more about mental health in school. Like rather than have like 1 or 2 lessons on it, I feel like we should definitely talk about it more. Just because, okay, like for example, when I had my very first panic attack, I was scared. Like that just added on to the anxiety / panic.
I know.
Because it's like, what the fuck is happening? Because you don't realize it when you're like you know, because I feel like panic attacks, right? Like they're not like anxiety attacks. And I think anxiety attacks, they happen like gradually over time. Panic attacks kind of hit you like really fast.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like you don't even like it's scary.
It's
so like when I had my first panic attack, I think it was like
you feel like the world is
ending. You feel like you're dying. And like when I had my very first panic attack, right?
Yeah.
I was like 10.
And
I was 10? I was 10. I was like
mine was like last year. You okay?
Like, no.
Obviously not.
But like I had my first panic attack when I was 10, and I remember it was in PE class. Oh my god, PE just sucks. And I was so scared because I was in like the pool and we were doing swimming. I just couldn't get something, and I started like drowning, and I had a panic attack while I was drowning.
That's not a good
just like drowning and panicking, and like my teacher was just like, oh my god, just swim. Like, oh gee, thanks, you're really helping me here right now. Like you're really being so helpful. Like,
oh, I'm just panicking about nothing, I guess.
Well, that's great. No, but like I really think we should talk about it more at school, just because like it's important.
Yeah.
And also just on top of that, it's like
it's one of the things that we talk a little less about.
Exactly.
We've talked about how we can help other people, but we've never really discussed how you can help yourself.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, what if you don't want to ask for help?
Exactly.
Because I'm like one of those people. I'm sad to admit it, but I can't ask for help.
Yeah, I can't. Exactly. Like I feel bad.
I feel like I'm just asking way too much.
Exactly. Like even if you're like, I know it's not, but at the same time, it's like it is.
It is.
So it's just like
It's not though. If anyone's listening, you can always contact us. Yeah. You can talk to us.
Not literally contact anyone. Like anyone close to you.
You can call us for
literally
all we know. We'll answer and we'll talk for hours.
Like honestly, I feel like we don't ask for help, but we know that if someone asked us for help,
I would definitely say yes.
We would like
help.
Exactly. But like
whatever you need.
That like, but like if it's you, I feel like it's just like it's harder to ask.
Mm.
Cause like even though you know the other person will say yes, it's still like
Yeah, I know that you would say yes and you would definitely
yeah,
help me, but I'd still be scared to
yeah,
ask,
exactly.
and especially a teacher. I mean,
Oh yeah,
how?
no, I feel like school counselors really need to like
Step up their game.
yes, definitely, cause like
They tell on you.
they tell on
They're
you. Oh my god,
snitches.
they definitely tell on you. Like they told on me. I went to a school counselor for like an issue that I was having, and she legit like because it was actually about my parents, and so I told my school counselor, and she told another teacher, like she gossiped about it, and then the teacher called in my parents, like ma'am, I came to you with like what? I was so just
I think you kind of realize that you can't trust.
exactly like you cannot. So if you're listening to this, if obviously if your school counselor is good, like do talk to them, but if they're not,
Don't.
it's just gonna kind of make it worse, especially if you don't want the people finding out, kind of. So
Mm.
like maybe reach out to like an actual professional.
You can
Like
also reach out to your friends.
exactly. Like start out with your friends, maybe like the person you're really close to, or even better, a trusted adult. You know, because I feel like adults might be able to help you more. At the
Yeah.
same time, friends might be able to give you a bit more like empathy and like support
I
in a
think
way.
really like go through it with you.
Exactly. But like at the same time, I feel like telling an adult is just like
Kind of scary.
it is kind of scary, but at the same time, it kind of help a bit more because
It
adults can
is
do more about
'cause
it.
they've lived a longer life.
Exactly.
They know what everything is. I mean, they
Yeah.
know a lot
But like,
more.
cause I understand like not being able to tell your parents about like mental health stuff.
Definitely.
Cause like I mean like I told my mother about getting tested for ADHD, and like a lot of other like you know like disease like mental health issues, and actually she took me to a therapist, but actually asked her like months ago, and then like we got into a fight multiple times too, and during those fights you know she was like oh you know it's not real, mental health isn't like you know you don't have ADHD, you don't have this, you don't have that, but like I feel like we as a generation Gen Z, I feel like we have to
We
like
have to make
start
that change.
we have to make that change. We have to like when like for those who do have kids, right? If you're like if you just like kind of acknowledge their mental health.
And always keep an eye on them.
Exactly. Keep an eye. Like obviously like don't like
Don't
like
stalk them.
don't stalk them. Like that's
Don't just
creepy.
constantly follow them and be
Don't be
super
yeah,
overprotective. But
like don't be a helicopter parent, but at the same time like do like
do
keep
help
an
them.
eye.
Do
You know
keep
like
an eye and
just like
catch up with them for a bit.
yeah, like you know like if like you know they seem a bit down, like maybe talk to them about it. You know, ask oh hey honey, you good? Like
And if
just
it's
like
something that they don't want to tell you about, get them a therapist.
yeah, get
I know
them a
that sounds a
therapist. Like
little, you know.
yeah, like I know some people are gonna say like, oh well, if it's just like there's a little sad, like what's the need for a therapist? Well, therapists can help with a lot of stuff. It doesn't only have to be about sadness. It can
No,
help with
yeah.
like, you know, self love, confidence, a
Not
lot of
everyone
stuff.
can get a therapist, but you can like
Yeah,
always ask your friend to help
exactly.
you or
And like
anyone really.
exactly, like you know, and I know a lot of people like sometimes people won't be able to afford a therapist and stuff, and that's when like you can turn to like you know a trusted kind of you know like a family member. You could you know like you could tell your child to like you know talk to a friend at least. I'll be like you know like oh you know don't talk to me but like talk to someone you know because
Yeah.
like I feel like honestly like our generation right I feel like once we get older and we have kids we're honestly gonna be like pretty good parents. But I feel like we're gonna be good parents
Yeah.
just because like we kind of acknowledge mental health more than other generations have.
I think yeah, we're very progressive.
I feel like we're a very progressive generation.
But that's what it is, right? We just keep getting better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like as like the world and like time kind of moves ahead, I feel like just I think our ideas are definitely going to change to be better. Like for example, okay, like let's look at millennials, right? Now, they're pretty accepting.
Some
I feel like
people aren't
some people
accepting
aren't.
of like
I feel like they're like
LGBTQ
yeah.
and mental health, but
I feel like they're kind of like not really in the middle.
yeah.
Because I feel like Gen Z is kind of in the middle because we do have some like people in Gen Z that aren't fully
like us, I guess, like
progressive.
Yeah.
But like we still have a few people. I feel like for millennials, they're kind of more on like the less progressive side, but they're still like kind of acceptable, kind of. Like
yeah,
they're
are.
like not that bad. Then there's boomers. There's boomers. I mean, don't get me wrong.
The people who we blamed
Oh yeah.
for climate change.
I think like 10% of them, I'm sure it will be pretty accepting, and they are pretty progressive. But I feel like the other like
Yeah, a lot of people are
90%.
really old-fashioned.
Yeah, I feel like the other 90% though.
I got a boomer for my music taste.
Yeah, I feel like the other
On
90%.
BuzzFeed.
Yeah, we did BuzzFeed quizzes.
It's really
We're so
fun.
quirky. Oh my god.
Corgi.
Like I feel like people from that time, like 10%, I'd say they're pretty progressive. Like the other like 90%, they're not, and it's like, oh, okay. Like I have grandparents, right? And I mean, like let's say like, I know both my parents went through a pretty traumatic life. Like not traumatic, but like it's hard. Like everyone's life is hard.
Yeah.
And they went through some hard times, and I feel like they should have gone to a therapist. Like, I mean, both of their families definitely had enough money to go to a therapist. Like, definitely for sure. And it's like, but they didn't because their parents kind of just said it's not real. And at the same time, I feel like they wouldn't be super accepting of the LGBT community, just because, like
I think a lot of things to do with like
how they were brought up,
how they were brought up, ideologies,
Exactly.
like religion, everything really
Yeah,
ties in,
exactly.
doesn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, just like for example, I have been trying to like drop my family hints about, my sexuality.
You seem to ignore every single one.
They ignore every single one. Like I literally wore pride socks. They didn't
You
realize.
called them pride socks too.
I call them pride socks.
Not rainbow socks.
Not rainbow socks, pride socks. They didn't notice. I played Girl in Red. They didn't notice. I played so many gay lesbian songs.
Ooh, what was
they
that
didn't
musical
notice.
song?
Which one?
The one we sang yesterday. We sang musicals, yeah, yesterday.
Oh, I have no clue. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, we sang so many. I forgot. But like literally, I feel like
it's really apparent too.
Yeah,
everything
they're just
you
really
did.
homophobic. But like, but yeah, I feel like honestly, just back then, I'm kind of glad that I was born in a time where we do have therapists, and it's like okay to go to a therapist.
Yeah,
I feel like back in my parents' age, right? Like if you went to a therapist, it was like kind of like, oh my god, this person's going to a
you're
therapist.
Crazy, you're a psychopath.
They're crazy. Oh my god.
Oh,
like,
mental institution.
Like now, it's like
it's pretty normal.
It's like now, it's like, oh, I went to therapist. Everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. So do I. It's like, oh my god, that's adorable.
That's adorable.
It's like, yeah, So I feel like I'm glad that we're kind of normalizing going to a therapist and talking about our mental health more. At the same time, it's like we're not fully there yet,
Yeah, and I get it. And I'm gonna talk about my own experiences because I have a lot, and I think I do have a bit of social anxiety.
Yeah,
you can tell, right?
Kind of a little bit.
Yeah, because when I talk to someone who is intimidating, by that I mean confident, or just have a sense of who they are and can know what they're doing, I guess. And when I talk to them, I start stuttering, and my stutter gets really bad, and I try to hide it, but it's really hard, and I get really scared. And honestly, I just stop talking.
Yeah,
at that point.
I feel like I can talk to people. It's just at the same time I try not to,
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't say I have a social anxiety because again I can't say that I have any mental health issue.
It's just
again,
I might have a bit.
I'm not diagnosed,
self-diagnosed, I guess.
Exactly. So like again, I'm not diagnosed, so I can't say I have anything, but I can't say I think I have it, and then just call it something else because. Again, I don't have that.
I think I have some symptoms of social anxiety. Not that I have it, but
yeah, exactly.
And and I also hate that people joke about such serious things. It just really makes me mad. Yeah,
like okay, like for example, like us, for example, right? Like we joke about this thing with this girl named Kat, right? But like the thing is,
it's not funny.
That's not really hurting anyone.
No.
But like when you make jokes about like school shootings, I've seen a shit ton of people making jokes on TikTok about school shootings.
No, this guy in our ear does it.
Yeah, like he makes so many jokes about school shootings.
And it's like America's school shooting, whatever. Like whenever we talk about the country, which has a lot of school shootings, to be fair, but you don't make jokes about that.
You don't make jokes about that.
That's not funny.
People died,
it's so traumatic.
Making jokes about someone else's depression is wrong. you don't do that. Like, fine, like if someone makes jokes about their mental health, like obviously
I think it's
be
like
concerned.
be
but
concerned,
like
but it's a way of coping.
it's a way of coping. But like if you make fun of someone else's mental health, that's shitty. Don't do that, please.
Please.
But I think just joking about serious things is just really shitty. Like just don't do it. Just like no. There's just
School
no
shootings
point.
are not funny.
I feel like a lot of the things that like again, I understand like if you're like okay, if you're part of it, right? Like if you're part of it, like let's say you were in, God forbid, like the people who were in school shootings, right? Like if they make fun of it, it's a way of coping, right? It's a coping mechanism.
It's a coping.
But if someone outside of it who's never been through that is gonna make fun of it, it's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's the thing I hate about people is because people aren't considerate and they don't care what other people are going through. And honestly, you really never know what's going behind closed doors. Like you never know. You never know what someone is going through. And I really hope everyone who's listening to this is doing okay, because it's not a great thing to be having bad, terrible mental health. But honestly, if you're struggling and if you don't have anyone to talk to, and if you just need like a listening ear, or if you want some advice, we're not the best, but we still would, give you some decent advice.
Yeah, we'd listen, give advice. Because I feel like it's always good to have like an outsider's kind of point of view.
Yeah, a second opinion.
Exactly. Honestly, like if you're suffering through something like eating disorders or mental health issues, or you're just not feeling very good mentally, like,
or if you just want to say hi,
yeah, just talk to someone. You know, it doesn't have to be.
You don't have to reason to.
It doesn't have
to
be
someone.
Your mom. It doesn't have to be your dad. It doesn't have to be your parent. It doesn't have to be anyone. Literally, it has to be someone. But like,
just talk to someone.
You know, and I think it's never too late to talk to someone.
I talk to myself.
Yeah.
Talking to myself does help.
It does sometimes. But talking to someone just really helps, because get the help that you think you need. Because
and honestly, if I'm just saying this again because I really, really want you to know, you guys, the listeners, to know that if you want to say something, if you want to say hi, you want a therapy session.
I mean, we're not therapists, but like
just
if you want to vent.
Yeah, if you want to vent, or if you want some advice, you can always contact us.
Yeah,
we'll listen.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I feel like it's never too late to get help. Like it's never not too late. Like it's only too late when you're dead.
Yeah, that's too late.
That's only when it's too late. So even if you're going contemplating doing it, and I think we know what it means,
I won't. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, like it meaning bleh, bleh yourself,
That's not funny, but sorry.
No.
Bleh.
Let's just say like oink, like no, that's not. Okay, let's just call it the thing. Okay, let's say you want to do
oink?
It. Do it. I don't know. Let's say you want to, do that, and it's never too late to help for help. Even if you're
call a suicide hotline.
Yeah, I feel like calling a hotline definitely helps.
Call your friends, your family. Friends. There's always a reason to live.
There's always, there's so many, and like for people who have pets, right? Like just know that they're probably gonna wonder where you went. So like just think about that, and just think about it, and also just the fact that probably haven't met your soulmate yet. You haven't danced in the rain yet. You haven't had your favorite food yet. You haven't found your favorite food yet. You haven't gone to that concert yet. You haven't lived yet.
You haven't
lived yet. You haven't done so many things. There's so many things in the world that you can do. You haven't done any of that yet. So just
think about that. Think about everything that you could do and everything that you could change.
Yeah, and I think I kind of agree with the phrase "suicide is selfish."
Yeah,
but sometimes. At the same time,
but I also understand.
Yeah.
That person's point of view.
Yeah, I understand.
Because if you're going through a rough patch, it's obviously terrible.
Yeah, I feel like just generally, if you're like kind of suffering, because I'm not gonna say if it's like hard. It is suffering.
Yeah, and honestly,
if you're suffering through it, just know that it's never
not a
too late
crime.
to talk to someone.
It's not a crime to.
I feel like it shouldn't be a crime to do it, because I feel like it should be more of something that should be helped rather than kind of.
It's a problem for sure.
It's a problem, but it shouldn't be a crime. You shouldn't be fined because you don't want to go through pain anymore. You know.
You just want to end it.
You know, and like I understand that. I know,
but it's I from like a family member or like a loved one, I would definitely be a little angry.
Yeah,
because
I understand contemplating it, because but at the same time, it's like
if you're having any sort of contemplation of that please call someone.
Call a hotline.
Call us.
Literally, just look up your country. Call a hotline. That is it. Like they're there to help you. There's a reason they're there. Literally, just if like literally the thoughts are wavering in your mind, doesn't matter how big they are. Doesn't
your
matter
problems
how small
are actually real.
Everyone's problems are valid, and I feel like we should definitely talk about that in our next podcast, because it looks like we're running out of time.
but we love you so much.
Yeah, so I feel like So I guess that's
that's
it for today.
I guess. Thank you so much for listening.
And I hope you enjoyed the podcast.
Yeah. And if you listen to this, you're quirky.
You're super quirky.
You're super quirky.
That's like quirky, but better. Okay?
So much better.
Bye. Guys.